Another Trump regime cover-up has completely exploded in their face as we just discovered that this man, RFK Jr., is blocking research from the CDC that shows the benefits of COVID vaccines. They are literally blocking the public from receiving the research that they say doesn't exist. They say there's no evidence that COVID vaccines actually help people. Meanwhile, they're sitting on the evidence, and now they refuse to release it. Here's more on this story. The CDC has delayed publication of a report. They're probably never going to release it. That shows that the COVID vaccine cut the likelihood of emergency department visits and hospitalizations by about half. It decreased the likelihood of going to the hospital or using emergency services by 50%, an incredible amount. It was originally scheduled to be released March 19th. It's past March, and they still have not released it. Now they're kicking the can down the road, and here's what they're saying. The report had cleared the agency's scientific review process, the scientists said, but now it has been delayed by acting CDC Director Jay something, I don't even know how to pronounce that, over concerns about the methodology. They're concerned about the methodology. The same methodology that he's complaining about here has been used by the CDC to evaluate vaccine effectiveness for respiratory viruses, including influenza. They've been using this for an extremely, extremely long time. A report about flu vaccine effectiveness this past winter using the same methodology was published. So this same methodology is being published all the time. They've used it. Everybody's used it. But now they're saying, oh, this study that hurts our narrative. Oh, we have a problem with the methodology. Here's the guy, Mr. J, however you pronounce that. This guy's a total anti-vax freak, and him and RFK have been basically blocking everything they can from coming out that shows that vaccines are helpful. I mean, just recently, they canceled this $500 million grant in funding for mRNA vaccine research. And what was their explanation? Well, he said, as far as public health goes, the mRNA platform for vaccines is no longer viable. You can't use mRNA anymore. Why is that? Because you can't have a platform where a large fraction of the population distrusts the platform. Basically, this mRNA vaccine stuff, we can't use it anymore. We can't even research its effectiveness because people don't trust it. What? How does people's perception affect whether mRNA vaccines are effective or not? Obviously, they don't. And if the real concern is that people are just wary of the technology, wouldn't funding more research that shows them how beneficial it is or how not beneficial it is, but probably show how beneficial it is, giving them more clarity, wouldn't that help to bolster trust? This doesn't make sense. We can't fund research in this because people don't trust it. What? That's not how science works. And here's the thing. He's pretending like, oh, it's just because people don't trust it. That completely contradicts what RFK Jr. has been saying. Look at this. NIH director, mRNA vaccine contracts were canceled because the public lacks trust in the technology. This explanation does not align with that of Health Secretary RFK Jr., who says mRNA, that's dangerous. Look, here's where he said it.
After reviewing the science and consulting top experts at NIH and FDA, HHS has determined that mRNA technology poses more risks than benefits for these respiratory viruses. That's
interesting. Wait a minute. After consulting your senior leadership doesn't even agree with you. You guys can't even have a consistent narrative on this. That's incredible.
Why, after extensive review, BARDA has begun the process of terminating these 22 contracts totaling just under $500 million.
Okay, wait a minute. So you've come to this realization that mRNA is not safe. That's why you're canceling research into the safety of mRNA? What? Why would you ever cancel research into something if you're genuinely interested in whether it's safe or not? That doesn't make any sense, and it's obvious that they're totally motivated by their own ideology because we just saw that they're blocking this new research that shows actually that vaccines reduce risk of hospitalization. They actually make people more safer. Here's what he said. He expressed concerns about the observational method used in the study to calculate vaccine effectiveness, and the scientific team is, quote unquote, working to address his concerns. I just have an issue with the methodology, he says. Now, here's what the methodology is. Test negative design. It looks at people who are already sick enough to seek care, test them, and then compare vaccination rates between those who test positive for the disease and those who don't. That is different from randomized controlled trials in which patients do not know who gets the vaccine and who doesn't, and then researchers compare who gets sick. So this is a different approach that's been used for a long time. Look, it's been used to measure influenza vaccine effectiveness for 20 years. You are stopping a study over the fact that it's using a 20-year-old methodology that y'all been consistently using? Are you kidding me? Jernigan, one of the scientists, she says the test negative design used to measure effectiveness of flu and COVID vaccines is not perfect, but it is well suited for monitoring how the vaccines are performing in the real world. Guys, it's true. These things are not perfect. It might be the case that it doesn't lower the likelihood of hospitalizations by 50%. It might actually be 52%. It might be 48%. But it's not so inaccurate that you can't even release the results and it doesn't do anything for you. What are you talking about? I mean, here's the study, just back in March, that uses this same methodology. They're saying, oh, we can't release this. We all know it's bullshit. We know what their agenda is. They've been very clear about it. They hate vaccines. Here's what RFK thinks about vaccines.
The justification for giving this shot to children is very, very weak. And particularly since there was the safety testing is utterly inadequate. And children are at almost a zero risk for COVID.
Yeah, zero risk for COVID. That's why a bunch of kids have died of COVID. Zero risk. The safety testing is terrible. That's why we can't have any more safety testing. I mean, here's another guy who works for HHS. They all have the same ideology.
We know that there are complications, long-term complications of the infection, of the COVID infection itself. And there are some people who are vaccine injured. And we all know.
So many vaccine injured. It's really the same amount, actually. COVID and the vaccine, I mean, which one's more dangerous? Who knows?
I think it's really healthy to have transparency about what the drug companies that were involved in Operation Warp Speed know. It's also really healthy to open up a discussion, an honest scientific discussion, uncensored, on the evidence on the COVID vaccine.
So these guys are basically attacking vaccines 24/7, but we're just asking questions, leading way fewer people to have the vaccines every single year. You want to talk about the evidence? Why don't we talk about this evidence? Here's the death rates by vaccination status. Look at the guys who are unvaccinated. Look at the guys who were vaccinated. That's some evidence. What is this? I mean, this isn't even 5 times higher. This is like, what, 10 times higher, 12 times higher, 15 times higher? Why don't we talk about that evidence? Let's have some transparency about that. I mean, these guys are a bunch of clowns. Everybody knows that they've already come there. They've decided that they don't like vaccines. They don't like traditional science. They want to push their fake drugs, all this, bullshit products, that they own stakes in these companies, all this alternative science bullshit. That's where they're getting their money from. That's where they're financially interested in. So they can make boatloads of money. Meanwhile, people in America die. These losers, these suckers have brought polio back to the United States. They will not stop until every ancient disease has come back to the United States and starts killing our people again. They're going to bring our life expectancy and they're going to bring it way down. Why are they not actually attacking anything serious? Like, why are they attacking unhealthy food? Why aren't they attacking, the fact that our school lunches are terrible? Why don't they do something about that? No, the real issue in America is vaccines. That's why people are unhealthy. I don't think so. Leave in the comments what you think about this entire situation. Is there ever going to be accountability for these guys? I really hope there is. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm a law student and I make these research-based videos. I got to say, they're pretty informative, more informative than a lot of the YouTubers in this space. It takes a lot of time. I have a wonderful team that does it with me, and we enjoy making you these productions, and we make them every single day. So whenever you subscribe, whenever you come and view every single day, it means a lot to us. We really appreciate y'all. Come back tomorrow. I'll see you there.